Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Jeffrey Lazarus, and welcome back to Let's Play Dark Souls. So if you remember in the last episode, we killed the Taurus Demon, our first major roadblock, and we met this jolly sunny fellow who we are now going to speak with.
Ah, hello. You don't look hollow, far from it. I am Solaire of Astora, an adherent of the Lord of Sunlight. Now that I am undead, I have come to this great land, the birthplace of Lord Gwyn, to seek my very own son. You find that strange? Well, you should. No need to hide your reaction. I get that look all the time. Oh, aha. So I didn't scare you. I have a proposition, if you have a moment. The way I see it, our fates appear to be intertwined. In a land brimming with hollows, could that really be mere chance? So what do you say? Why not help one another on this lonely journey? This pleases me greatly. Well then, take this. We are amidst strange beings in a strange land. The flow of time itself is convoluted, with heroes centuries old phasing in and out. The very fabric wavers, and relations shift and obscure. There's no telling how much longer your world and mine will remain in contact. But use this to summon one another as spirits, cross the gaps between the worlds, and engage in jolly cooperation. Of course, we are not the only ones engaged in this, but I am a warrior of the sun. Spot my summon signature easily by its brilliant aura. If you miss it, you must be blind.
Okay, so essentially what has happened is he gave us an item known as the White Sign Soapstone, which can be used to leave a summon sign. What that will allow us to do is be summoned into other players' worlds to help them fight specific bosses, or to help them clear out an area. We can also do the same if we find a white sign that has been left on the ground. Also, he has told us that he will have his own summon sign, so we will see that in certain places. But for now, until we actually get around to summoning some other players, let's head on up ahead. Now, the next thing we're going to have to deal with is this bridge. Now, I can attempt to strictly run across here, but what's actually going to happen, well, I don't want to spoil the surprise, just watch. Yeah, remember the Hellkite Wyvern from earlier? He's back, and he's not happy, so what I'm going to do is just try and make it to the midway point of the bridge without him murdering me with fire. He also left one of the hollows alive. I've never seen that before. But by ducking down this staircase, we will actually find a couple of things. Number one, don't want to go out here just yet. Number one, if we head out this doorway and down this staircase, we will be able to kick this ladder. And from here, we can climb down, and this will actually take us back to the Undead Burg bonfire. It's one of the cool ways the game kind of folds back in on itself. Now, while we're here, to try and make things a bit easier on myself, let's remove these from my inventory, as well as these. I don't need them right now. We are going to actually use a humanity. Now, when you see the counter in the upper left goes up, we have 2 humanities. So, by setting at the bonfire, we can use 1 humanity to reverse hollowing. This will make us human. This will allow us to summon other players into our world through the White Sign Soapstone method, as we saw earlier. However, the other thing it will allow us to do is be invaded by other players who are using specific items to do so. The other thing we're going to do is kindle this bonfire, so that we will now have 10 Estus flasks leaving from here, because I have the distinct feeling I may need them. Now we're going to head back up the ladder, and we will go the other direction from that room underneath the bridge. Now, the thing to keep in mind is, while we are human, yes, we can be invaded by other players. We can also summon help. You can only be invaded or summon help in an area where you have not yet cleared the boss. Also, one thing to note, you can see the end of the dragon's tail from here. If you use a bow and enough arrows and can hit his tail with the bow, you can actually get a weapon known as the Drake Sword. If it's your first time through the game, probably not a terrible idea to grab it. It can be a bit of a crutch through the early game, but it'll get outclassed by other weapons fairly quickly once you get past the first few bosses. So now, just making our way along the underside of the bridge here. As you can see, these guys are... Oh boy, I almost jumped off for no reason. As you can see, these guys are a little bit tougher than the ones we were dealing with earlier. Also, one of the things Dark Souls likes to do is put you on a narrow pathway with enemies. Oh, ate the spear to the face. I was really hoping to just kick this guy off the ledge. Although now that he's gone aggressive... Ow, ow, stop hitting me. There we are. Okay, kicked him off the ledge. Now we are going to heal up because this next room, if you remember the one rat that we saw earlier, there's actually 3 of them in here, and they can be a royal pain. Because they can bleed you out very, very quickly. We're just going to try and stab them down before they get too close. Oh, boy. Okay, there's 2 down. And I realized I said bleed. It's actually poison, not bleed. Alright, and let's just cut this 3rd one down. And there we are. We managed to make it through there without getting poisoned. So we are in better shape than I was the last time I came through here, where I got poisoned and basically had to run through all of my Estus and was poisoned for most of the way through the area. Now, as we come up this ladder, we'll see there's a staircase. That will lead us up to another Black Knight. No real point in dealing with him now. This will lead us out into the area known as the Undead Parish. We are now in a new area, so we are in danger of being invaded. Also, here you can see this gate. This leads to the room underneath that wyvern, where you can see a bonfire, and there's also another covenant through there. We'll come back to it when I feel a little more comfortable getting past the dragon. In the meantime, we're going to try and cut our way through here as quickly as possible in hopes that we don't get invaded by another player, because if we do, it is highly likely that we'll get just murdered. So as we can see, there is a boar there. There's an open gate. That gate will close if we don't make it through quick enough. There is also an alternate path through the area. So I'm actually going to see if I can't rush the gate, and then I may double back and show you the alternate path as well if you don't manage to get through the gate. So we're going to heal up. We're going to ignore the boar for now, because he's going to be exceptionally tough to kill. And we're just going to sprint over here to the right, up these stairs, roll off the back of here, roll after this guy, get our lock-on going, and okay, now the gate has been closed. We have 3 enemies to deal with, and we don't want to go too far up the stairs back there, because if we do, then it is very, very possible we get attacked from behind by some enemies that are definitively tougher than these guys are. So there we are. We cut these guys down, and there we grab the basement key. Now we're going to go ahead and pull the lever and open this back up. Now, the alternative method here is to actually go down those stairs directly underneath me and simply follow that path, which will eventually bring you around to the same location. Oh, the archers are shooting at me again, so let's go ahead and run up the stairs. And over here, we should find a halberd, and I may actually go walk through that other area, the other pathway. Now here we meet our first Balder Knight. These guys are exceptionally tough for now because of their ability to parry and riposte against your attacks. Also, this guy with the spear is just real slowly walking up here following us. Let's see if we can't just deal with this. So luckily we made it through the gate. Now, as we come up here, we should run into another Balder Knight to our right. Yep, there he is. Oh, boy. Oh, and he killed me. Fantastic. Oh, poor stamina management, poor health management on my part. All right. So, this will set us back to the Undead Burg bonfire. And we will have to run through... You know what? That's actually not that bad, because we can take the alternate path rather than dashing through the gate like I did before. And I will show you how we actually end up in the same place. Also, those stairs are broken. What am I thinking? The ladder. The ladder is the way. Okay, so we're going to have to go through a little bit of the area that we just went through. But luckily, this means I can actually show you the alternate way to get to the same place, as I stated earlier. Backstab would have been nice there, but the game said no, you can't have one. Typical Dark Souls, just being a dick. Alright, come on. No. Quit swinging at me. Alright, that works. And also, I would like to get back there and be able to actually retrieve my bloodstain. Oh, if I don't get killed by the damnable rats, die. Alright, one more around the corner. As usual, the enemies are almost always in the same spots. Unless something happens nearby that would cause them to move, which is typically your presence. Maybe they somehow hear you on the other side of a wall or something like that, and then they'll move to a slightly different location, but typically you can find the enemies in the same spots they always were. So once again, back into the Undead Parish. At least this time we are not human, so I don't have to fear for my life from invaders. Okay, so the alternative path here is very much the same as the original path that we just took. To a point. Oh, I am not really going to die to frickin' hollow soldiers. Drink up. Oh, God. Having a bad time of it today. This has not been a productive day of Dark Souls for me. I must be a little off my game. There we are. Okay. So we goad him into attacking. Goad him into attacking again and just cut him down. Now, when we head up here, instead of running through the enemies, we're going to have to deal with these three guys. The two of them have crossbows, and then there's the guy with the spear and the shield. So we're going to kick him, stab him through the chest, get 2 arrows in the chest, because... Oh, why did I... Wow. Okay, back down the stairs, heal up, while we're still safe, relatively speaking. Now we can deal with the archers. So we want to be a little bit careful here because we don't want to follow up our attacks too much. Because if they fall off like that, and we accidentally fall off with them, then we're down there with the giant boar who, yeah, he's got his eye on us. So over here we will grab the alluring skulls. And we're actually going to use those to deal with the boar because I am a cheap bastard. But it is actually the easiest way to deal with the boars. A lot of people say that it's cheap or it's cheesing the game. I say that they give you those right there for the reason of dealing with an enemy that is way stronger than what you should be dealing with at that point. Missed the backstab because I am too slow. Now, I think we're more or less okay on enemies. Nope, there is another one coming, but that is alright. So now, we have the alluring skulls. We're going to look directly towards that fire, press X, and that will throw the alluring skull. And as we'll see, the boar is going to run into the fire to try and get the skull. And if I actually kill him with just one, that would be fantastic. And that's a dead armored boar. Now we should still have... Yep, this guy is still coming. Because he cares not for our alluring skull. And unfortunately, the boar did not drop his helmet. We will get a boar's helm at some point through the playthrough. I was kind of hoping to get it here because it just looks pretty cool. As you can see, the gate's still actually open, so we could just head on up that way. But let's go ahead and look at the alternate pathway. It's a little bit longer. Actually, it's substantially longer. Don't let these guys goad you in too much because there's a lot of them in this room. So I think what I'm actually going to do is just... Oh, get the fireball off. Yeah. Yeah. There we are. So that is dealt with now. There will be a couple of items to pick up here, as well as probably a couple more of these guys. So we round this corner, we should find the mystery key. Yes. And now we will want to head up these ladders. And at the top of this ladder, there should be 2 hollows waiting for us. So we just want to make our way onto the platform before they aggro us, so that we actually have the guardrail to work with, so we don't end up getting knocked off of here and falling. Not that it would be a fatal fall, but it definitely wouldn't be pleasant. Now, as we can see, there's also an item out on the rafters here, so we're actually going to want to walk very carefully and cautiously across the rafters to get to this item, which is another soul consumable. And this is actually not a bad thing to practice, is walking on these, because it will become a big thing in a particular area later on. Veteran players know exactly what I'm talking about. Anybody who hasn't played the game before, just trust me, you may want to practice walking on those rafters for a little bit until you get it down to almost a science, because if not, it could cost you in the long run. So dying here is not near as bad as dying there. So, now we will head through this fog wall. And you'll actually see we are on another walkway up above where the boar was, even further up. Now from here, we have 2 options. We can go left up the stairs, we can go right. We're actually going to go right first. And this is where you would normally encounter your first Baldur Knight if you did not rush through the gate. Oh, missed the backstab. And poor stamina management on my part again. Yeah, you heal up, I'll heal up. We'll do this honorably. Or will we? Here, have a fireball, you dick. I haven't been using my fireballs near enough. Now, out here, and the whole reason we came out here, is the Night Shield. So, once again, if you couldn't buy the Heater Shield, and you couldn't get to the Dragon Crest or the Grass Crest, the Night Shield is not a bad alternative for this current point in the game. So, if you still don't have 100% defense shield at this point, come over here, get the Night Shield, or alternatively, the next merchant we get to sells 2 different ones that are, I believe, statistically identical. So, at that point, if you don't have 100% physical defense shield, I don't know what you're doing with your life, but you're doing something wrong with the game, that's for sure. So, once again, we have another one of these spearmen. If we can just kick him, and then stab him, and then slash him. Not to mention break all the barrels into all the lovely little bits. Now, this will actually bring us down to the same exact walkway where we died last time. We're just coming at it from a different angle, and you'll see that momentarily. So what we're actually going to want to do is this comes to a T. So we're going to want to run out just long enough that the enemies spot us, and then back up, bring up our fireballs, and at the very least burn down this Baldur. Oh yeah, he went for a heal, and that's going to be his downfall. Now the other guy we should be able to deal with fairly easily. Yep, It's just another spearman. Little stabby. Little slice. And right there you can see our bloodstain from where we perished earlier. So if we grab our bloodstain, and then this is the walkway we came up from in front of the church. You can see it all kind of wraps around on itself. There's the two paths. If you're fast enough to get through the gate, you can go for the gate. If not, you can take this longer way around, and it'll net you some more souls. It'll net you a couple of items, including the mystery key. So, yeah, it could be worth it to go either way, depending on what exactly you're doing. Now, as you can see up ahead, we've got 3 more enemies down there. I'm not terribly concerned with those 3. However, the one that's furthest away does have a crossbow, so we want to be wary of that. So we're going to move down. We'll aggro these guys, but then we'll back around the corner of the building here so that the crossbowmen can't get any shots in. And now we can fight this guy one-on-one, which posed little to no threat. And the crossbowman should allow us a neat and nifty little backstab to finish him off. So now, a couple of things that we'll want to do here. You'll note there's once again 2 pathways. One that leads into the church, one that leads across here. We're going to head across here first, and then we will head into the church. But before we head into the church, we're going to use the rest of our soul consumables and spend some souls to ensure our survival in the coming battle. And you can hear the blacksmith's hammer in the background, which means we have made it to our second merchant, who also happens to be a blacksmith. So we will light this bonfire. We will rest at it for the time being. Now, what we'll see is over here, there's a large fortress that has been gated off, and we will not be able to get in there right now. That is a later game area, once we've done a couple of other things first. So that direction is not an option at this point in time. Back up to the church is actually where we want to go. But before we head in there, we're going to head down here. We will meet our blacksmith, Andre of Astora, and this is going to be a blacksmith we're going to use a lot throughout the game. So let's go ahead and talk to Andre.
Well, you must be a new arrival. I'm Andre of Astora. If you require smithing, then speak to me.
So, as you can see, we have a few new things that we can do with him. First of all, let's get the gesture. Now, we can reinforce weapon, reinforce armor, repair equipment, and modify equipment. Repairing equipment means that we spend souls to bring our equipment back up to its full durability. As you can see, the Grasscrest shield is at 199. Dragoncrest shield at 297. That is the durability of your weapons and or armor. And say, I tend to religiously repair my stuff every chance I get. Now, alternatively, we can reinforce weapon, reinforce armor, and modify equipment. And as you can see in the top right, required souls 200, as well as a Titanite shard. We don't actually have any Titanite shards, which is a little disconcerting. Normally we get a few drops on the way here. And weapons work very much the same way. However, you'll see something like Astora's Straight Sword requires Twinkling Titanite, which we got off of the Crystal Lizard in the last episode. And Twinkling Titanite is used for specialty things. Specialty weapons, specialty armor. But there are other types of Titanite, such as red, blue, so on and so forth, that we will need for specific types of upgrades. Alternatively, you can modify equipment. This requires a special ember, as you can see. It will ascend your weapons. So you will find say a divine ember or a fire ember, and that will allow you to make divine or fire weapons. Each of the different blacksmiths has their own specialty. But for now, we can't actually do anything with modifying our equipment. So what I'm actually going to do is not accidentally hit Andre. And we are going to slap our soul consumables, of which we are actually running a little low for my taste. And we're going to go ahead and burn through all of these because I want to upgrade my weapon as much as possible before the next boss fight. Reason for that being that this is really kind of the... assuming you can make it past the Taurus Demon without too much of an issue, this is really the first time in the game where you may require help for a boss fight and you may require some upgraded gear. Once again, all of this can be done without doing that if your skill level is high enough, but I can tell you right now, mine's not high enough to beat these guys without at least an upgraded weapon, and possibly a summon, if not a couple of summons. Say, I know I can beat them by myself without the summon, but I definitely need to upgrade the weapon. So now, we're going to talk to Andre here again, and we are going to go into purchase item and see that he sells Titanite shards. He also sells the smith boxes, weapon, armor, and repair. So I'm not going to buy the smith boxes just yet. He also sells an array of weapons, as well as some shields. He does have the Tower Kite shield and the Catechus Kite shield, I believe is the pronunciation. For 1,000 souls each, those are once again equivalent to one another, and they both have 100% physical damage reduction. And he also sells all of the same types of arrows that the other merchant did, so now we're not really at a loss for having killed that merchant. So what I would like to do, if I can, yes, I would like to buy 9 Titanite shards. And what this will allow me to do is take my Uchigatana. You can see it requires 1 Titanite shard for +1, requires 1 for +2, 2 for +3, 2 for +4, and then 3 for +5, equaling 9 Titanite shards. However, now we have a +5 Uchigatana. So we're going to head back up to our bonfire, and we'll do one more thing very quickly before we end. We're going to head back up into the church briefly. So we will make our way back across the bridge. We will have to deal with the 3 hollows around the entrance again, but that is... I guess it's really a side entrance, isn't it? Now that I'm thinking about the orientation of the building, but nonetheless, because this will allow us to test out the damage on our weapon. Still not quite one-shotting these guys with the regular attack, although getting pretty close. I'm pretty sure the strong attack will do the job. Oh yeah. And now we're going to head into the church, and we're going to be wary because on the left-hand side we have several enemies. On the right-hand side we have a big enemy. And if I can draw him out, I would love to manage to kill him right now. So this will be a Knight of Berenique. And yeah, he's not shy about just coming straight at us. So goad him into swinging, hit him with Fireball. Say, he looks a lot more intimidating than he actually is. Aside from the fact that he heals with Estus like a piece of crap. Oh, jeez. Okay. But now we've got him out in the open, so a less enclosed area gives us more room to work with. Now, once again, if you're going with a heavy armored character, you could probably... you might have the armor at this point to stand and take those hits. Oh, and he actually dropped us an item. Another Titanite shard after I just spent a bunch of souls on them. Well, that's unfortunate. And what this will allow us to do is come up here and grab another Firekeeper soul. And that is our second one. Now there we can see an enemy standing up in the balcony of the church. We'll want to deal with him later. One thing to note, this Knight of Berenique does not respawn. So we will not have to worry about him again. So we're just going to take a right here. And as you can see, there's stairs going up. That's where we're going to want to go later on. But for now, we're going to step on this elevator. And on our way down, we're actually going to step off the elevator a little bit early. right onto this ledge, and as you can see, we were actually back at Firelink Shrine. So once again, the game has folded back around on itself. Now, while we're here, while we have the opportunity, we're going to roll off of this ledge onto this buttress, and then walk up the buttress, rolling if we get stuck, trying to be careful about it and not fall to our death. Now we want to head up these stairs, and we will be able to roll over onto this roof. And that gets us the Undead Asylum Floor 2 West Key. There you can see the bird that actually brought us here. That is an indication of the way that we can actually get back to the asylum. We will want to return there later on, but not necessarily right now. So if we drop off of here, we will grab another soul consumable, and then drop off of here, and as you can see, we are right back at the shrine. Now, before I actually go back down to the shrine, I'm just going to show you guys, if you come up these stairs next to where old Petrus is, where we dropped off and got the items from his quote-unquote secret stash earlier, you'll see that those two archways are actually where the elevator drops you off. So this will give us a shortcut up into the Undead Parish, a shortcut to the next boss from Firelink Shrine, which means we don't need to necessarily kindle the Undead Parish bonfire, although I probably will because of its general usefulness. But for now, we will rest at Firelink Shrine, and on the next episode, we will start out by making our way directly to the next boss, and then possibly even to the next boss after that. Might be able to get 2 battles in one episode. We'll see how things play out. But for now, I have been your host, Jeffrey Lazarus, and thank you for watching.